Hi, everybody. Here's another Sunday night live where I just come on to give uh, our community an update on what's happening with everything going around in East versus West and King of the Table. So, the first one being, I just uploaded a recorded video of a podcast between me and Ayane Takenaka. It's a little interesting because it's one of the first podcasts that I've done that utilizes a translator. Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, everybody. And having a translator, it's a little bit interesting because the dynamics, the energy, it's usually a little bit challenging. I think going future, I might have to rethink um, rethink a little bit about the whole translational thing. So, when it comes to the podcast, but take a look at the podcast with Ayane. Um, we edited it out a little bit of the whole translational back and forth thing, but I still made sure that we could always hear Ayane speaking. So there, that it's around seven. Well, sorry, 9 ish p.m. Eastern. That's what I try to shoot for every Sunday. And because it's casual, I don't want to put a fixed time there, but it's usually about 9 p.m. Eastern. And the reason is I need to get my kids to bed and they're taken care of before I could switch over because this is more of a live that I can help answer questions. But yeah, check out the podcast with Ayane. So, ooh, what happened to this camera? Not sure what's happening. Give me 1 second. All right, back. Apologies. Not sure what happened. The whole camera just decided to crap out. Um, But yes, post your questions. I'll try to answer everything. But meanwhile, after this, you have your time. Watch the session with Ayane. I think that she did give a couple of good insights, a couple of pretty interesting uh, comments. Like, if you could change one thing, what would you change? Right. So there is that. Let's see. So sad to hear Brian Shaw ran at a loss, so he didn't get the revenue from the strongest arm on earth. Um, we don't have so the deal with the Shaw Classic, which is an uncommon one. But going forward, we probably might not do that again. Just so that we can control certain aspects of everything in regards to the arm wrestling component. Uh, Preliminarily, sorry, is my screen flickering, guys? I don't know. Is my screen flickering? It is flickering. Double front biceps. What is this? It's nothing to show off. Oh, by the way, check this out, guys. It's one of the state flags of Malaysia, Sabah, and this is my country's flag. And this I got it from Mike Ford. So I just thought I should change things up a little bit so it's not always East versus West. But yeah, so just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of how everything went for the Shaw Classic. All the costs, expenses, and revenue are all split. Uh oh, it's a yes on the flickering. Hold on 1 second. Now it's all weird, huh? You know what? maybe we'll just use this camera. I'll just talk to you guys the whole time from this camera. Let's see. It's my backup camera. Um, you know, sorry. Here we go. You know what? The cheese, man. Give me 1 second. This is weird. All right. Better? Sorry. It's a freaking Chicago thing again. It's gonna be a permanent meme. No, it's that one of those cables, I think. But yeah, so you guys can hear me. That's good. All right, great. So we don't have the full cost. So preliminarily, Robert and I, we were just doing some numbers, some napkin math, and at least we think with the current numbers, uh, we might be either breaking even or just barely under on the arm wrestling side. Obviously, we don't fully know the strongest man on earth component, but from the arm wrestling side, obviously we lost potential customer. Yeah, that's right, Mike. Yeah, so we potentially lost some revenue, but to the extent we don't know how much, we can do some extrapolation based on, because we know a lot of the Europeans couldn't purchase it. So using those math, you can kind of like, well, if example, right? If Italy was always contributing 10% and this time they only contributed 1%, then if we extrapolated it with an additional 9%, what would that sale be? So we're gonna be doing some those internal comparison, but for the most part, we are. It's there's a lot of unknown numbers, but from our side, we are thinking it's gonna break even or just be barely under. Nothing too crazy. So uh, yeah, I think he said something about sponsorship had dropped. So yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just scrolling back up. Is the attack investigation coming to a close? No, I think there is still one other step to confirm who the identity of the SIM card, where that SIM was receiving all the two-factor authentication for the event. Oh, sorry, for the domain transfer. Nice shirt. Yeah, it's nice shirt. How's there? S- So something that everybody here should know. Okay, everybody here should know. Especially those aspiring podcasters or YouTubers or influencer creator. YouTube, especially YouTube, they have a certain way. They're always updating the algorithm, right? And the latest update focuses on quality and similarity. So in the past, it was quantity. Back in several years ago, it was quantity. You churn out a lot of content, and then one gets viral, and boom, you're all good to go. Today, it's a little bit different. The algorithm would always try to find, and it's always been similar, but this time it's a little bit more refined, where they're trying to identify who your which viewer would very likely watch your video. Okay, so there is this thing called click-through rate. Now I'm giving you a lot of detail because this is I think there's a lot of inspiring aspiring content creator out there. So the click-through rate basically is if YouTube shows somebody a thumbnail of the video, what is the likelihood of them clicking it? Okay. So it can be anywhere from 5%, 15%, around usually that range, right? If it's 15%, it will keep promoting your event, your video or live in this matter to more and more people until that number comes down. Okay. That is kind of how they show things. Now, example, uh, in this channel, it's mostly arm wrestling, so they will show it to arm wrestlers, and very likely arm wrestlers will be clicking, 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 right? And then on the opposite side, example, a maybe 2, 3 weeks ago, I did a live doing Dota 2 with Schoolboys, Our, and Kalinichenko, right? A lot of arm wrestlers who saw it, clicked on it, and dropped off, or they didn't even click on it. Okay. So there is also a second point, the retention rate. If if I'm not getting more than 30 seconds retention, I also get kicked off. I'll be sort of promoted less by YouTube because now it's confused. Is it like, wait, I thought Dexter's doing arm wrestling content, so arm wrestlers should be liking it and watching it, right? But no, the same guys are not doing so because it's, even though it's arm wrestling adjacent, but it doesn't work that way. So with that, right? So now you guys kind of understand how the whole algorithm works. Instead of having a really broad video base that talks about everything under the sun, we kind of need to narrow down that the main channel is very focused. Now, some might say, "Hey, Dexter, if you did yours on the main channel, wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't you be able to grow that channel faster because there's more content?" Now, it's different. It's very very different because now the content style, the content itself on my channels and it's all very very different, all very different, and that will screw up the channel's algorithm, which is what I'm trying to achieve. I set a goal internally, okay, uh, within 2.5 years, within about 2.5 years ish, that we hit 1 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. That is the internal goal of mine. Um, don't fault me if I don't get there, but I need everybody's help to get our main channel to 1 million. So the couple of things that we might be breaking into, it's mostly storyline videos, background of each athlete in a very high quality production level stuff. So there is that component that I'm gonna be, I've kind of spoke to Robert about this, and it will cost quite a bit of money, but having to have all the preparations, video team flying there, whatnot. So there is that thing. Audio is gone, zero sound back up. Oh no, that's a joke. I accidentally clicked that. 98% rebrow back. Okay, sorry, I'm just scrolling down all the questions. I do have a couple announcements. So that's one of the big announcement. Um, let's see. Now the full card for Swiss for the Swiss event, EVW20 has already been released. I know that there were a couple of people who thought I was suggesting that Ayane will be polling in Switzerland, but that is the card has long been set a while back, long before that. I really got to know that the whole community wanted Ayane to be polling. Um, so we have plans for her to pull very, very shortly. And the reason why I cannot officially announce it is because until it's confirmed by both parties, then I can officially announce it. But until then, I want to focus everything mostly on Switzerland. There's that. This is a great idea, Roy. This is a great idea. I actually brought that up a while back. But with everything going on, we didn't want to muddle everything up. Matter of fact, we switched to some type of third. It's a mixture, right? Inside domestic in America, we'll do all the fulfillment of certain things internally, and then externally, we'll have a Asian counterpart that does all the fulfillment. But turns out they had some postage tracking issue. So until we get all that whole merch realm figured out, we don't want to involve any other athletes until we get that resolved. If that kind of makes sense. Uh, from my understanding, yes, that is a requirement. If that report's not done, then he potentially he could get into trouble. Who? Uh, that the CEO is Steven, and Steven is a longtime arm wrestling fan. So he reached out, offered his services to try to look into things. Let's see. Yes and no. There's a little bit more freedom when it comes to our personal channel because there are certain things that could be of my own opinion versus the opinion of the entire league. I watched. Oh, sorry. That was a comment last week that says that I should not be just answering questions. I should be reading the questions before I answer. So I got to remember to do that. We actually have a big announcement, uh, and more details will follow. But there are certain things. No, we are always trying to speed up matches. Um, but the whole break situation, we may consider even bringing it down to 60 seconds because I was just doing a check on all the breaks in between all the, doing in between rounds. And I found that a lot of the matches actually did not consume the full 90-second break as well. So is there a reason to even lock that in? There's a lot of things that you don't want to speed up too much as well. Example, that our walkout typically takes a little bit longer, with all the smoke, the fog machines, and the coal sparks and whatnot. It does create a little bit of I've heard of athletes feeling that that's where they are actually gathering energy as they're walking out, right? So there is that component. But we'll look into everything. We don't want to just blast through everybody, but I'll address in the second, a couple of minutes later, about how are we going to resolve the whole um, not enough matches argument for EVW because we have a lot more athletes. We are constantly still signing more and more athletes to EVW. Oh, sup, Paul? Yes, 1 million, 1 million. That's right, 1 million. Uh, yeah, the average good CTR is about 5%. But the idea, though, right, Greg, is that we start at 15 and then YouTube will push you down until it's 5 because it keeps pushing it until it goes to the fringes. Maybe people who cares a little bit about arm wrestling, that's when it goes down. But you want to start out higher before it comes down. Uh, I cannot tell you the exact number, but he is asking for uh more than his current contract is. That's what I'll say. Thoughts on bringing a couple social media influencers to EV20? Honestly, we usually have quite a bit who comes to most EVW20 events. So to give you an example, the one that has been very, very very active lately. It's Henry Nering. He pays for his own flight and everything. He flies there, and based on certain restrictions, he gets some behind the scenes, some athletes videos. He gets it all out there, creating some hype. Technically, Benji is also one of them. He does a lot of great behind the scenes stuff, very deep access. I mean, Coach Ray, he's also an influencer. So we do have quite a few influencers, but and more, I've noticed people start like in Switzerland, people have already start emailing me asking if they could do certain things. And matter of fact, we actually will have one soon. I can't remember his name now. He's not an arm wrestler, but he has I think like half a million subscribers if I remember correctly, half a million on just Instagram, and he does a lot of like sports stuff. He says, "Can I get a media pass to interview the athletes?" I want to. I said, "Okay." I'm always happy to you know collaborate and partner with other social media influencers, not just in the arm wrestling. Matter of fact, it's even better if they are outside of the arm wrestling to bring in more views that way. So there's that. Let's see. Would love to be able to announce a future match for EVW. Through the fingers, fully support EVW. Great. Yeah. So uh I know there are kind of mixed feelings about this whole thing, and they were wondering why it shouldn't be on the main channel. Well, the question is, why not? It will still be on the main channel after the first person, uh, through our partnership program, be the first to announce it. So they are just the first to announce it. Eventually, it comes on our main channel anyway, because people like yourself who support EVW and support what we do, there's all the reason for us to help you grow because you are also helping us grow and educate our fan base. Everybody has very different perspective on the one piece of news, right? The same video that comes out that say Robert announced, like five different EVW supporters may interpret it differently, and they may also have their own niche and crowd, that and target audience that they cater to. So I don't see why not. So before our next event, please remind me, and I will try to see if I can fit you guys in. And I'll be cycling through everybody, so don't feel like say Benji. Benji's always going to be able to announce it. Sorry, Benji, I know you're on the chat, but I want to be able to just rotate around and just help as many people as possible to help everybody be aware that there are certain channels, but obviously it cannot be a channel that is too small. Then it's not really doing too much. I need the channel to be able to at least reach a certain audience. So I don't know what that number is. It's a case by case basis. I need to see how many videos that they have posted in the past, what is their current follower subscriber count is before I can offer them. So I apologize. I have only so many matches to share, but yeah, happy to do so. I mean, it's a year away. It's way too early, and from my understanding, Brian may not even want to host another Shaw Classic in the future. So it's just way too early to say. We got a whole bunch of. Oh, sorry. The question was: is there a plan to improve the quality of the EVW jerseys? Yes, there is. Um, we were able to get hold of upgrade, a certain upgrade quality shirts. The one I felt was perhaps too thin, and the reason why we kept those was because the athletes actually loved it because of how thin it was and how moisture wicking property it had. So I'm like, okay, well, it's very good from a performance standpoint, but I could see that it doesn't feel quite as good. So it's all kind of wonky, but we do have, like, for instance, if you go to our website EVW sports.com and you go to merch, you will see we have another one that has just our East versus West logo up, on the chest. That one's of a different quality and much better. So it's because I we designed that to be more of a casual wear than a competition wear. Question is, do I think Brian is interested in arm wrestling promotion or just an athlete from now on? I don't know. Maybe put it on his own channel. He. I can't say for him. So it's really best for him to answer that. S- Sign me as a commentator. This is from Greg. It's good. Uh, Kevin Tam says, I miss all the Swiss EVW matchups on those influencer channels because I didn't know them and that they were going to announce. Did I miss EV announcing which influencers would do the announcement? Uh, so that was a tricky part because this was my first time. I didn't want to regulate exactly how all the matchups were being announced because I wanted to see which was the best approach. An example, right? There were some, there was some uh, announcement, right? Initial announcement that we knew ahead of time. So they had a premiere time for a for their video. Example, East Side Arm Wrestling, head by Greg Yeo. He created the whole video and he got it ready to be published at a certain time. So his link was available to us ahead of time. Therefore, we could have so that his promotion we were able to blast it out. Then there were certain people from the the European side. Specifically, there was a Russian influencer. Uh, I I couldn't get him to commit to a time to announce, and when he did, it was mostly on his a Telegram and a live. So that timing wasn't that link wasn't provided to us ahead of time for us to help him promote. But uh, in our next post, where we will show all 12 matches, we'll include the link of, and we'll thank every single influencer out there that helped make the initial announcement. So there will, if we kind of hit and miss, I've got a better idea as to how we're gonna do this program forward. I don't think I'll cancel that because I think there's a lot of use for it. A lot. It's quite helpful for people to get to know all the new influencers. Whole gang is in tonight. Mike Ford. Every It's 18 going to 5. So is the question from GB19, is it Coach Ray who's responsible for EVW Athletes podcast before event? Anyone else? We've in the past we had Ryan Turner, Ryan Bowen as well, and Coach Ray. We are still, wanting to make sure that there is some, and I spoke to Coach Ray, and he's totally aware of this, so it's nothing new. There's a very high likelihood that Coach Ray will be doing the podcast before the event. I just want to throw in there that I wanted to have some sort of like variety a little bit. And it's nothing against Coach Ray. I mean, just like the influencer announcement, I hope people understand that I'm trying to just rotate around. So nothing's all set in stone for something like this, but for sure it'll be, you know, as of good level because that will be, it has to be on our main channel. It is expected to be on our main channel. Let's see, our Diabolical Billy, our famous troll from UK. Oi, the strongest arm on earth. More like the strongest loss on earth. That's what happened when you give a free all-you-can-eat buffet to Neil Pickup. Bloke eats all the profit before before the tills even open. Diabolical. And a smiley winky face emoji. Now, for everybody who's listening to this instead of watching this, he's a famous troll. So keep that in mind. Mr. Beast did so GB19 said Mr. Beast did a video with Gabriella once. If he can come to EVW, would be great. Just saying. Okay. So Mr. Beast just did an open call talking about amateurs versus professional. He just did one with Ronaldo, right? And there's a long list of professionals who hit him up. Okay. EVW is one of them. I don't know where we'll fall, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I should. Man, actually, my cousin was one of Mr. Beast's producer. Maybe I should hit her up. Not anymore though. But among the on the line, I saw there was one. It's Magnus Carlsen. He's talking about the top chess guy. So I mean, it'll be really cool to have a EVW collab with Mr. Beast on amateur arm wrestlers competing with our top guys, Levon, Hermes, Vitali, Devin especially, right? And we can even go all the way down to Gabby. Gabby did a video where she dressed up like as in like an old lady, like a grandma, just wrestling people. I think it was at Muscle Beach in California. I think. Don't quote me. Maybe it was Florida, but she was just arm wrestling and just just hammering every guy out there. And like, oh, they're losing their grandma. That was embarrassing. So yeah, so I love collaborative work. Um, keep those ideas coming. I would love it. Uh, another Paul talking about Chael Sonnen. That's a good one. Okay, well, anyway, that cat's out the bag. I'm in talks with him to potentially be a commentator for EVW 21. EVW 21. So I hope everybody's gonna be a little bit excited. Not sure if it will pull through though, but I might play the alumni card. Chael Sonnen actually went to the same university as me when I got my second bachelor's. So Chael Sonnen, he went to BYU. I don't know if I played the card, but yeah, that would be a pretty good day if that happens. Now, don't I'm don't hold me to it if it doesn't happen, but it's always those initial talks. Um, yes, the day in the life by Coach Ray, that was hilarious. I thought it was real. I thought Devin really slept till that late, and but then towards the end it got a little ridiculous. That's when I knew it was all a joke. But initially I thought, I was like, wow, geez, Devin really sleeps in. But yeah, those were great. Here's another question from DJ USA. With the amount of athletes you have, how many events do you plan next year? And will we get a chance to see the lesser known athletes with some small events, maybe host on YouTube? Okay, is this time to make this kind of preliminary announcement? Oh, geez. Man, I'm that excited. That's why I spilled myself. So the announcement, Robert and I, we will be going forward. We'll be launching a partnership program with promotions all around the world. Now, if you're a promoter, you have a small event, you have a large event. Take note, okay? Get this. We will do a form of partnership where it's not, and I mean by no way a profit center for us. It's not a profit center. It will be a revenue center, but not a profit center. And the difference is we want to help all these smaller promotions to expand and grow. Now, there are certain things that we would like to do from our perspective is we would want to help them promote their event. Now, obviously, we can't host an event every single day, every week. It's just not feasible right now. Correct? Right? We are no UFC. We don't have a $1.1 billion budget like UFC does. So because of our resources are limited, we have to. So we were talking about, potentially hiring more people to do smaller stuff. But I think the better answer this time is we have so many great promoters all around the world, like literally around the world. Why not partner with them? So we are in talks with partnering with a lot of small promotions, and here's what we are offering. We are offering the smaller stuff would be offering them the use of some of our IP, right? Currently, we are thinking East versus West would be the go-to name for our super match, events. Any super matches events will be in the umbrella of East versus West, and on the tournament side would be King of the Table. Okay, that's kind of how we're breaking things up a little bit, but they're all under the EVW Sports banner. Okay, the second thing is that we will assist, not take over, but assist with some of the matchmaking. Now, and what I mean by that is that they will have access to some of our exclusive contracted athletes. Okay. I think that's pretty crucial because it also ensures that some of our athletes who example, right? Athlete so and so may have lost 4 times in a row, but we don't necessarily want to remove them completely. What if they went to a smaller league and regained their confidence and kind of reset the mentality? Sometimes it's all about, the mental state, because they've lost back to back, back to back. It kind of affects their morality and, their confidence, and the and so this would also have them kind of reset everything, and it's a win-win, because the small promotions have access to athletes that they're not normally uh capable to having, because the athletes may have signed a contract with us, or maybe not, but we they may not even know of such athletes availability. So by helping the small promotions, having some athletes that compete at East versus West might also help their pay-per-view numbers, if they do that, right? Just might increase their viewership overall. Therefore, I think this is a great way to ensure that we are capable of fulfilling the contracts of all our athletes. So it gives us the opportunity to sign on more athletes. So anybody who's saying that, well, EVW doesn't have enough n- uh, events a year to satisfy all the contracts for all the athletes that we have, I would say is no. We, matter of fact, we are in talks with 3 different promotions right now, maybe 4. The 4th one hasn't really begun because our meeting's next week, but at least 3 promotions right now, and some of them are the events are actually happening this year in the next few months, that we might do a collaboration with, because here's the other component. Some of these events, they also may not have all the um, they could still learn from certain components of how to run a promotion, and we are happy to share those with our partners. But obviously, there is kind of like a certain restrictions that we have to be a little bit careful. Like, I know how everybody feels about the whole political thing between IFA and WAF. I don't want to get into that, but we are politically aligned with WAF, right? And so we could we have to be careful of uh not using certain like, say, at referees, IFA refs. We have to make sure that the table has to be our dimensions, and not some weird flat ones, or one of those. So there are those that we are still trying to make sure, and getting permissions from WAF to make sure that we are okay. So for that portion, there are certain requirements, and obviously, if you've never you never had done any promotions, and we don't know who you are, and there's nobody who could vouch for you, then it might be also something that we will have to take into consideration before we partner with you on an event, because ultimately our name is still somewhat on the line, and we got to make sure that any EVW partner is a good one. So that's, I think, a really big thing that we are going to do forward. uh I think, I don't know, what do you guys think about sh- you know us, instead of controlling every aspect of the whole, well, attempting to carry controlling every aspect of the sport, versus trying to reach out and gain more partners, uh get more support outside of our core base. So there is that. um Here's another question on GB19. Is it a good YouTube algorithm to announce matches on several channels? Would it be better to have a fixed channel so everybody keep track easier and blow up EVW channel too? Yes and no, because one of the conditions was that YouTube, well, Google really, Alphabet, who owns YouTube, and they they prioritize backlinks as well as a way to keep track of how popular something is, right? That's what they call search engine optimization. So more people are pointing to our channel, which they are required to, uh, as a partner. It actually helps us being more more popular. So See, let's see. Cossy Mango just asked, since EVW is doing less matches and events per year compared to before, is there a concern that some athletes might not be paid enough and they might be seeking to pull in other events? Well, sorry, that was 20 minutes ago, so it's a little outdated, but I guess you got your answer there. We strive to, our commitment is to, when you sign a contract, the contract will state your payouts, right? And that payout is honored throughout the life of the contract. That's what the contract is to protect the athletes from us. We can say, hey, you've lost like 5 matches in a row. Let me pay you less, right? That's to protect the athlete from that. So we don't do that. And we've paid everybody. Love it, bro. Got 100 subs in the last 2 days. Just finally starting to grow, and East versus help. Thank you. Well, you know what? Benji or any of my mods here, share through the podcast, through the fingers, YouTube link, so everybody can follow them. Just gotta help everybody around there. My Mindaugas and Daniel announcement has a 6.4% click-through rate and 49% retention. So over 5 of your average. So it's a little higher than usual retention rate. Yeah, in long form videos, retention rate typically is a little bit more challenging. So 49% is pretty decent. And what that means is, that's how much of his video is being consumed. So that's really, really good. Mr. Peanut says, taking arm wrestling mainstream requires creating marketing opportunities for everyone in different economies around the world. We can do this with the phone app working universities in every country. Yes. So what's interesting is I'm not just looking at North America, although North America, typically, has quite a bit of, higher GDP. That's what I'll say, right? But there is a lot of strong arm wrestlers around the world, and I'll hate to make the assumption that that we should only keep it to North Americans and the Europeans, because there are I was talking to one Latin American guy today, right? And he had some pretty crazy good interesting stories that he was telling me. So this guy was telling me, let me get you his name. This Chilean athlete, Claudia Munoz, I think if I'm saying it correctly. Apparently he's a WAF champion, and he's been sending me videos. So Latin America is another place to go, right? I mean, technically we have Africa, South Africa, but Africa is a lot bigger than South Africa. From Rickert Bornemann. So we need to cover every continent, every single place in the world. So yes, you are correct. In order for us to grow, in order for us to have the dream that arm wrestling will be in the Olympics someday, we've got to have the whole world involved. So there is that. Yeah, East Side arm wrestling. Yeah, last week I actually showed everybody East Side's arm wrestling video. That was super cool. Let's see. Is it true Steven is a Devon fan who went to Turkey and was screaming, "Let's go, Devon," during a match? Is this really a non-biased investigator? Well, he wasn't just saying, "Let's go, Devon," but I think he did. I think he did. But he was also the guy, if you in East was 15, and that's where I met Steven. He was also cheering for every other athlete out there. I remember the biggest one that I remember was Reno. He was shouting Reno, right? So he's the guy who's just chanting and cheering for everybody. So I don't know if it's just a Devon fan, but I think he's a fan of many other people. But he's also an announcer for one of the MMA thing, I think, or Knuckles Up or Slap Fight or something. So he does have a strong voice. Guys, hit the share, like, and subscribe. Now, I think the big component is for all influencers. The YouTube doesn't look too much at subscriber counts these days, because apparently there is a change where there's a lot of ineffective subscriber counts. A lot of people are buying subscribers too, right? And the subscriber counts actually will hurt you. Having a large subscriber count, and I'll get this, okay? If let's say they have 100,000, no, somebody has 100,000 subscribers and they have a video, but it's only a small fraction of the subscribers that actually click on their link after they got an email, or they were given an impression, they were suggested or recommended. That actually hurts their channel, because now YouTube is saying, well, I guess their quality has dropped, so we should downgrade him and not recommend this channel to many people. So having a broad subscriber count is kind of tricky, because you want to make sure that your subscriber count is current as in the sense they're currently a fan of yours. Because if they're not a current fan of yours, then it could mess things up a little bit. So older subscribers don't work very well. Hit the like, guys. Just give Ray some heel shoes. Let's see. Sorry, there's a lot of questions. I'm actually about 20 minutes behind. I'm scrolling super fast. What about, okay, Deeps is asking, what about another collab with Buffalo Wild Wings like WL? They hosted tournaments around the world, then finally got to compete on the big stage. Um, I don't know all the details about that collab, but I'm guessing it's more of a sponsorship type. But hey, if anybody knows of, okay, here's another open call to anybody who's watching this. If anybody knows of any sponsors that ends up sponsoring EVW for any reasons, I will be very happy to reciprocate that gratitude with a potentially a VIP ticket or something to that nature, depending on the sponsorship amount, obviously. So you got to be there. So everybody, if you guys think that there'll be somebody interesting, interested in sponsoring EVW for any of our events, please let us know. We'll be very, very happy, because that's like you saw Brian's video. Sponsorships are very critical in ensuring the success of an event. So got 100 in here. Yes. Yeah. I actually know when Levon will be competing next, but I don't know if this is the right avenue to share that. I would say let's keep that for another time. I want to focus mostly on Switzerland. So I don't want it to muddle anything else other than Switzerland. But I do know that he'll be coming to Switzerland. So if you guys have not bought your tickets yet, head over to EVW Sports and no, actually back up. Go to Travelocity or kayak.com, book a ticket to Zurich, Switzerland, and I'll see you there on November 1st. Because it'll be nuts. And the venue is has limited space. Once we sell out of the tickets, we are done. We can't have anybody come in. It'll be sad for you to buy your plane ticket and not buy the in-person tickets. It'll be really sad. So get it before it's sold out. EVW Sports has a full support of Team Singapore. Yes. Well, and we support Singapore. Something you need to keep from the Shaw Classic is the wider platform the table is anchored to. It needs to be wider than the table, like it was at EVW19. So there is pros and cons to that. Okay. David Simpson is asking, why don't we have a wider platform? So I believe it went out like, I think it was 6 inches wider than the table width, whereas the current setup is exactly the table width. There is some truth to that. Not gonna lie, I think there's some truth to that. However, the flip side is that they don't really have an inbuilt uh, platform or rising platform. This time there was only one athlete that needed the riser, but in future we might have multiple athletes that needs the risers, and it'd be a quite of a cumbersome thing to move that manual piece around. Just didn't bode well for me. So I do have some engineering ideas as how to fix that, and that would maybe entail where there is a cutout section on the stage where the risers will sit flush on the stage when it's not risen, right? So then really there's no wider platform. It's the whole platform is the whole stage, but it's bolted and anchored down to something that's more sturdy. So I have all those ideas, but obviously those engineering comes at a massive time and cost expense that to R&D and whatnot, which is not currently our main focus right now. But there is that. RN Effects asks, do you think manufacturing drama between athletes like WWE would be moral? I don't think there's anything immoral about that. I don't think there's anything immoral. Everybody's watching WWE, watching technically arm wrestling, EVW, as a form of entertainment, correct? So is it? I mean, we go to cinemas all the time. We watch Hollywood all the time. That's all scripted. Is that immoral? Now, but just to clarify one thing, immoral versus whether or not we should do it, it's a two separate thing. Now, I'm of this belief, and I think most athletes are of this belief. We don't falsify and fake and do massive scripting for between the athletes. Now, when I say massive scripting, there's still a little bit of things that happens behind the scenes. Example, okay, athlete A will talk to athlete B. He says, "Hey, I'm gonna go into some drama mode. I hope you don't take things personally, but I'm gonna be attacking you." So those are like that's why I use the word massive. There's still some kind of like negotiation behind the scenes, saying like, "Hey, at the end of the day, I still respect you as a guy, but just know that don't take things too personally." I think there's a little bit of like understanding, and they'll be talking about drawing that line. Okay, you can talk everything about me, but don't bring my wife into things, or don't bring my coach into things. Those are like drawing the lines. So it's still kind of coordinated to a certain level, but it's very, very minor. Because here's ultimately what it is, right? Most of our athletes, they aren't actors. They're not trained actors. They've well, I think the only actor that has actually acted on in Hollywood is actually Levon, and I think it's a non-speaking role where he was, I think, was it Extraction 2? He was just holding a massive rifle, gunning everybody down and stuff. So, but other than that, I mean, like outside from that, I don't think if if things were to be scripted, every fan could see through us, right? Every fan could see through the whole uh, fake thing, and then it becomes very inorganic, and then people ultimately don't like it. Okay, so I don't think that's now what is immoral. Okay, and which has happened in the past is manufacturing the result, manufacturing the result and the outcome of a match. That is completely immoral and extremely unethical. Which is that is something that we will stay very far from the line. That is not what we can do because it hurts the complete integrity of the league and the sport. So we're never going to do that. Even if you pay me $1 million, it's not going to happen. Well, if it's 1.8 billion, I might consider that for a second. I mean, the Powerball winner today. I think there's two winners, right? But you know, we won't we won't do anything like that. So whereas WWE, manufacturing results is actually part of the whole script. Let's see. DJ says it's a great idea to partner, especially in emerging markets. It gives us a spotlight to athletes and help build sport in those countries. Yeah, I mean, you guys seen I've been pushing, being a big proponent on the smaller markets. And, you know, sometimes the smaller markets compensate the you know the lower GDP with the quantity. I mean, my goal is if anybody is out there who's watching and has connections in China, I would very, very much love to do something in China. Right now, the mainland Chinese people can't access EVW Sports.com for whatever reason. So they can't even purchase a pay-per-view. So the only way is for them to watch pirated streams. And there's what, 1 billion people in China that would, if everybody just put in a penny, you know, we'll be making pretty decent money. So that's not what's happening yet. Yeah, this is through the Fingers podcast link. Go like and subscribe that channel as well. They're great people for supporting EVW. Support through the fingers. Wow, sorry, I'm slowly catching up. Does YouTube pay you per view count? Above which threshold you get paid? I believe right now, just to monetize your channel, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 view hours. Okay, great question. YouTube doesn't technically pay you by view counts. YouTube pays based on how much ads being shown on your videos. Okay, so one of the big things about that misconception example, you've seen shorts, right? And you've seen shorts that go viral. Oh, this guy had a 10 million or 100 million short views. Okay, wow, that must be a really viral thing. Correct. Okay, now just humor me for a second. This person has 100 million uh, views. Okay, so let's do this math. 100 million multiply and see, let's say this short's only 10 seconds. Okay, so I'll divide it by 60, well, 360. So that's a total of 2,777 thousand view hours. Okay, that when I translate everything to hours. Sorry, a little weather issues. Okay, now different scenario. We have a podcast, my podcast. It's an hour long. Okay, and I have 300,000 viewers that watch 300 views, 300,000 views that watch it full. So my view hours are now 300,000. So my my video ends up being more profitable than that high view count type YouTube videos, if that makes sense. So that's kind of like a rough idea of how YouTube pays things. So it's not always just based on view count. View counts doesn't mean everything, but it is still it's the only metric that the public can see. So I understand why sometimes it's you know well, I mean, why it might seem like certain channels are doing better than others. Oh, Cossy Mango just said, why is Ingen Terzi YouTube channel still a recommended channel EVW page? I thought that was since removed. I need to check. But thanks for a reminder. I thought I removed that. So Eastside Arm Wrestling, this says that YouTube pays by 1,000 views. Yes and no. They have an internal number that shows how much money you made per 1,000 views, but it's not really calculated that way. Example, right? If there is a whole ton of super matches, then the per 1,000 view count goes up. So it's not really based just purely on ads as well. Buffalo Wild Wings would be a great sponsor. Yes, I agree. That's this Emirates Aspirini super chat. What happened with ethical hackers? Okay, well, for everybody who doesn't know what ethical hackers, because I got some comments about did EVW become unethical or being immoral to hire hackers to figure all these out. Okay. To clarify, hackers are somebody who enters uh, a restricted area, okay, by certain means. There are companies who would hire ethical hackers to force entry into their system to find where the loophole is and shut that loophole, right? So, wasn't there a movie by Sylvester Stallone where he tried to jailbreak, that was his full-time job, right? He was trying to break out of prison essentially, and then he would go back to the prison owners and tell them, this is how I broke out, so you guys need to fix that loophole, right? Ethical hackers are similar. Their intention, their main job is to find vulnerabilities within the okay, so that's another component that for everybody out there, we should always try to use fifth grade vocabulary and below. So I shouldn't be using vulnerabilities. I should be saying things like uh, weak spots. Okay, they need to find weak spots within their organization, cybersecurity, right? So it could be, hey, I have a company with 500 employees. They will hire an ethical hacker to find out where could be the soft spot for outside intruders to enter their system and potentially delete and enter and put virus and or steal private data, right? So that's what ethical hackers does. They are paid completely legal hackers. Just so everybody knows. Let's see. GB19, have you ever thought about going on Shark Tank? Hey, guess what? Well, some of my good buddies, like the founders of Cup, which are sponsor, they have been on Shark Tank. So for everybody who doesn't know anything about Cup, go YouTube them, and the two founders, my good buddies Jung and Doc, they were on Shark Tank. So what's the purpose of me going on Shark Tank? To try to get potentially some of the sharks invest in EVW. Man, that's not a bad idea. That's a lot of marketing. I mean, there's a lot of marketing play there. Let's see. DJ USA, you should host an event in Austin, Texas. You can invite Rogan, Musk, and most importantly, Asmongold. Well, that's a long shot, but we do have plans. I don't know how everybody feels about that, but I am certainly a fan of hosting our next event, one of our events at the Arlington Esports Arena. Knowing what we know now, the guy who's in charge of microphone needs to be replaced. Other than that, honestly, that venue was mind blowing. It's absolutely beautiful. I don't know. That's just a personal favorite of mine. I'm not saying other venues are not good, but like that does. I mean, the amount of like graphics that we could employ and everything was just next level. So, uh, hold an EVW in India and charge $1 tickets. You'll be a billionaire. um, but I I actually explored hosting an event in EVW, and I was told that like the other leagues who are or there hosting the events, and they have like massive crowds, thousands and thousands. But I was told they all have free entry, so I'm not quite sure where we'll get to if if you charge even $1. But I'm really not opposed. I'm really not opposed. Uh, if you know anything about Malaysia, we have a significant uh, minority population of Indians. So when I'm back in Asia, I'll eat Indian food like five to 10 times a week. I kid you not. I can eat multiple times. I love Indian food. So there's a little bit of biasness as to why I would also like to support EVW in India. Let's see. Any ideas for a team versus team format in the future? I truly believe it might be the future of arm wrestling. Supporting individual athletes, that's a huge culture of supporting teams too. You know what, Greg? I think we'll be paying very close attention to your event to see how that format works and how well it does before we move forward, because that's something we got to be, it's really hard to say whether or not it will work or not. And so I guess you're doing the legwork for us to determine if it's that's a good idea. But I mean, technically speaking, we could keep doing what we are doing, a numbered super match events, right? And then we do a partnership, just like how we're partnering with the Singapore Open. Let you guys handle the team versus team format, and let you thrive. Being the guys who manages and promotes that type of format. Because honestly, it's not against any of our beliefs either. It's just a different, structure. Let's go. Why not replace pin pads with something that doesn't obstruct the views of oops. For refs and fans, WAF shouldn't be an issue because it doesn't change the dimensions. The elbow pads have already been changed. You are not wrong. We have considered having, strings. Uh, I've actually thought of, instead of doing a string, but if you do it like more of a strap kind, so it's a little wider. And the reason why strap and not just a single string, it's because if you have a strap, I have a strap there, right? All right, just look at this piece of paper, right? If you have a strap, if it's directly level, I don't know if you can, if it's directly level, you should only see a single hair, right? But if you are now on a tilted angle where you're seeing from above on a different camera angle, I'm going to take this off, right? Now you're seeing more of that strap. So you're not level. So until you're like flush, right? Then you'll see only a line. That's why, that's something I'm playing. I'm playing with a little bit. You do have a point. There is one slight thing. Just hear me out. I know we haven't done it yet, but there are intentions to do so. Is that at some point, like you see every professional sport, every part that is on camera, it's either filled with the athlete, the equipment, or a sponsorship logo, right? If you see on an F1 vehicle, almost every component uh, has a sponsorship logo, and some of them are really, really tiny, but it still gets on there. So removing that pin pad would also mean that we have a potential loss in sponsorships, like sponsorships, uh, real estate, because all these are like valuable real estate if you think about it from that standpoint. Diabolical Billy, EVW20 in Switzerland. Don't expect Dexter at the table. He'll be flailing on the nursery slopes, snow plowing like a toddler in nappies, while the real men are busy turning wrist to dust. He's not wrong. I'm not qualified to be at the table. I'm training. I'm still training a little bit, but fun fact, I live in about an hour's drive. I have probably half a dozen snows, like world level snows, ski slopes. See, I can't even get it right but I don't ski. I've skied. I've my own set of skis, but I hate skiing. I just don't know why I don't enjoy skiing. Terrible, terrible. I just don't really enjoy. Yeah. So for everybody, I live in close to Salt Lake City, and I believe we've hosted the Olympics, the Winter Olympics before, in 2002, I believe, and we are hosting it again in about, I don't know, 10 years, I think. Not sure. So I think 2032 or 2034. So uh here's another question: grip and focus. Do you think people, especially arm wrestling fans, are getting drama fatigue? I I personally I am. I don't know about everybody else. I cannot say for everybody else, but I think I am. I just wanna push forward. Uh, I mean, if it wasn't because of you know global ethical hackers, I probably wouldn't be talking about the domain name ever again, because we've moved on. We've now on EVW Sports. I just want to move on to arm wrestling. I want to move on to matchmaking, promotions, the Swiss event, the next event after the Swiss event, partnership programs. I don't want to be talking about drama. It doesn't give me any. It doesn't help the sport. It doesn't help EVW. So it's kind of terrible. But um, I don't believe YouTube is in China. They have a couple of different ones. I think Yoku is probably the big one there. So that's probably why they can't even see our content, unfortunately. But maybe you have a good point. Maybe I should just create a Yoku content, no, a Yoku channel. Let me see if I can do it right now, and then just push out our channel there, just so that those Chinese people, Chinese citizens, could watch it. That's a really good idea. Um, let's see. The next one would be. Can you GB19 is asking, can you see your top longer viewer count accounts? I don't think so. Maybe Greg can help me answer this, but I don't think we can see who our top uh, viewer count is. The only thing we could see, I think, is, well, I mean, for one, right here is all the super chats. That's very apparent, but I don't think we can see who's watching it over and over again, I guess. Let's see. Here's another one. Somebody get DeAndre Hopkins into arm wrestling. Dude just caught touchdown pass, one-handed, strong mitts. Well, I would say that is correct. And with, well, at the time where we are able to pay as much as the NFL. So that would be the dream. That would be totally the dream. Totally the dream. Oh, this is another question. Is this? Oh no, this is another new question. The Emorites Asperini is asking, are you closer to finding out who hacked EVW? According to Steven, it is down to the owner of the SIM card, and only Ingen can file that to the cybersecurity division of Turkey to obtain who the owner is of that cell phone number. So I think we are just one step away. We are one final step away from identifying exactly who did it. So diabolically hackers, EVW security is worse than the UK border. I don't know if UK is worse than the southern border of America. Well, not under Trump's administration, but let's see. Pictures. Gotham Arm Wrestling says, yep, I've pulled a few X pictures. They are strong. Wonder Bucket. Well, is that really, are they strong? Don't they have like those I don't know, like elbow issues and everything? Okay, I'm gonna slowly turn it down a little bit. But oh, did I answer all the? Did I make all the announcement? Okay, so another announcement is, I just thought it'd be pretty prudent for everybody, not on the chat right now, but on after the chat ends. I want everybody to do something for me, okay? And if you and I'll ship you guys an autograph strap, from one of our EVW athletes, okay? And the question would be, okay, this is more of a question. If everybody, I want to see how everybody's investigative power is, okay? If everybody can tell me the city that I grew up in when I was younger, okay? Now I'll give you a hint. It's in Malaysia. So I want everybody's investigative power. If everybody, the first person who answers that correctly, I'll send you guys an autograph strap. This is an exercise to showcase how easy is it for people to dig information on somebody? Okay. And so everybody has to be really careful of what you say online or what you do online, because once it's online, it stays there forever. So this is an exercise of why is it very, very critical to be honorable, I guess. So there is that. Here's another question from Italiano. Will there be East versus West in Canada before Devin gets too old? Devin and his fans uh, did a Canadian event in Toronto. Yes. Actually, there was an opportunity for us to do a Canadian event uh, later this year, but unfortunately, um, Devin is unavailable then. So uh, we didn't want to do a Canadian event without Devin or pulling at the event. So that is unfortunately not happening for now. But Canada is it's big on our list. Matter of fact, I Robert Baxter, right? Everybody talks he knows the Five Guys guy, but did you know most of the Five Guys? Well, if not almost all of them in Canada, is owned and operated by the Cyprus 5-star team, which and the chairman of that is Robert Baxter. So that's why we are big fans of Canada. So another one is lasers as a pin pad is actually brilliant. Once the plane of the laser is broken, it could give a sound showing match winners. Okay, I've thought of that extensively, but there is kind of you have to be a little bit careful of that. Example, what happens? Okay, if it will cause a lot of confusion. A lot of confusion, as in the sense is, okay, there's this pin pad. What if, right, it was other parts of his body that crosses that plane during the match, and then it goes off, but it wasn't, so there's like false alarms and everything else. It's just going to be really tricky because, I mean, technically, it is, I believe, a foul. Was it a warning? I can't remember. But athletes are supposed to hold the peg, and sometimes that could be off the peg for a while, right? I'm just throwing ideas out there. There's a lot of times, or here's another one, right? Athletes have really massive beard, right? And what if while going down, the beard crosses that plane? So, there's so many things that can cross a plane other than the actual arm. So there is that component that we have to be a little bit careful of. There's another great idea, a top-down laser. Like it's like the laser level, but it lasers down, so everybody knows where the center of that center of the table is. That to me has a much higher possibility than the current laser as the pin pad. There is another. Now, obviously, this is when we have the time to do more R&D, but there is. I'm working. I'm just exploring this idea. Have you guys seen a lot of the VAR systems for other sports, where, like, say, tennis, right? Whether it's in or out, they don't have any special sensors. They use the current cameras that's all available, and they feed it into a computer, and the computer is doing all the analysis based on the trajectory, the current incoming speed. Nope, it should not have hit it did not cross that line, right? Those kind of math. That's something I'm working on. So it's more of an AI type technology that just based on the camera angles that we have. So we have to feed all the camera angles continuously to the system, and from all the camera angles, it will determine whether or not it was a foul. Okay, and that is to help assist the refs. That to me has a much higher possibility than any of these lasers, because it's at least in my opinion, again, I'm no professional arm wrestlers, but that laser thing would be so annoying, right? I don't know. It'd be just kind of distracting and everything. So that's not happening for now. But we are exploring. I'm I'm going to take things slowly, right? The first thing is to ensure our team in Switzerland gets the pay per view perfect. Okay. That's our number one goal. Pay per view stream, absolutely perfect. Everything else that we're trying to introduce slowly gets introduced when we get our basics done. Uh, we do have actually a TikTok channel, and the TikTok is international. I don't think that you have to have a separate account in TikTok. It's just based on where you're from. You'll be you have a much higher recommendation uh, level to the peers around you. So, example, if I really, really wanted to, I could look up a TikToker influencer from China with our current app. Okay. But it'd be very, very difficult. It will go through multiple filters. They'll always recommend the local guys, the local Chinese first before they even recommend some mainland Chinese TikTok channel to you. Vice versa is accurate. And that's kind of how do you do things. But for the most part, TikTok is kind of the team separated from TikTok China and TikTok Global. That's kind of how I've actually met people in the TikTok industry, and we've discussed this extensively on how to improve the algorithm. So far, there are some fans on TikTok, there are arm wrestling fans, but we see most of the focus, especially on the long form content, we do best on our YouTube channel. Right now, it wouldn't be Quebec. I think, if anything, the first one we'll do is probably closer to the east, and it'll be very likely Toronto. Eugene Joseph asks, "What do you think EVW athletes going on tour across Canada and US and pulling fans in big cities? Maybe setting up a table downtown or at a venue." I mean, all those are great ideas, but my question is, how are those athletes getting paid? Because if you think about this from this standpoint, most of our athletes aren't. Uh, they do have a full time job. There's only maybe a handful who have the luxury of doing this full time. Okay, to pull them away to do a tour would require a significant amount of resources, right? First, we need to have a camera crew to follow them to capture everything, else it's for naught. And we also need to make sure the athletes who are taking PTOs are also fairly compensated, right? So that's kind of a tricky thing. It's gonna be tricky. Not gonna lie. Eastside says, but you can see when a channel starts subscribing to your channel, but if they weren't a sub before, you can see when they start watching your videos. Um, Murphy with a super chat. Thank you, Murphy. It says, Dexter, glad you're part of arm wrestling. Well, I'm glad you are part of the channel. Make sure share, like, and subscribe. Neil saying, glad you're considering doing away with pin pads. I have never seen an advertising on a pin pad, or is that something possible for the future? Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's possible for the future, and I don't want to remove that possibility. But at the same time, I understand that if pin pads are an extreme detriment, I get it why everybody doesn't want to see it. So I I I understand. Uh, no, guys. Don't put down the city here. I want it to be on the comment section after the event has ended. And the reason I say that, okay, and the reason I say that is, uh, it's really for two reasons. I just want everybody to figure out how easy is it to obtain information. That's one. But the more important thing is, I also want people to have a high engagement count. So there's that. So Scotty asks, why is there not a line running down the center of the table to help ref see center? That's a good point. Most of the table, I guess you do have a point. On the By the way, guys, here's another really, really cool thing that's happening. Okay. Pretty soon we'll be launching our own EVW Sports table. Okay. And but first we're going to be doing some testing to make sure that the manufacturers can indeed make it as high quality as possible. Okay. With our own designs and everything. With that new design, I've already seen the design. Half the table would be king of the table design, and the other half would be East versus West design. That's one of the design. And there's a very clear center line down the middle to help the refs see. You have a point, Scotty. I'm going to take note of that and potentially incorporate that. So if any of my graphics team is on, take note of that because this is a good idea. We'll incorporate a center line on our designs to help refs. I will take that into consideration. I'll talk with the team. I'll discuss this with the refs and see what they thought about what they think about this. But it's a really good point, which is another reason why I love having these Sunday night casuals. Maybe arm wrestlers wear a wristband, and if it drops below the pin pad plane, you lose. Yeah, I don't know about that. Shen Miao. That's funny. Okay, Jack G has a comment again. I'm a little bit behind, but it's not about the stage risers. Elbow pad height and even table width to the pegs should be adjustable too. Why should a shorter polo have this reach to reach the same distance as someone with a longer? I'm guessing you're saying arm. I guess. Okay, now again, I have to reiterate, I'm not an arm wrestler like a professional. Well, I've never competed at one, right? But I've competed at many other sports in track and field and everything. Could you say, hey, just because my legs are shorter, maybe I shouldn't need to run as long of a distance, so I should only run 95 meters, and the other guy who's taller, he runs 110 meters. You cannot adjust too much of the equipment and the surrounding platform just to fit a certain physical attribute, right? You're gonna say because I'm taller, so my badminton racket should be shorter, so my reach is the same as the guy who has a shorter arm, right? I mean, at what point can you do that? So I think there must be some level of standardization to make it a playing field. And I mean, for the whole history of sports, there's always some level of advantage, and favorability to certain physical attributes. So, hopefully within a few days, we'll be releasing a full video of Devin pulling. I don't want to say which piece of equipment, but it's a piece of equipment. It's going to be super fun. Emirates Asperini. No, it's not Bedok. Good try. Wrong country. But I've been to Bedok. But again, answer it on the comments after the video. I'm gonna once I get caught up, I'm gonna try to stop it down. Okay, here's another one. But no, that's not a good one. Grip and focus is they need tables for us short pulls. You know what? I've seen actually the other type of table that's smaller. It's the kids table. So I don't know how short you are, grip. But yeah, you could try those tables. Those work fine too. Yes, we need EVW tables. We will have one. Dimensions will be exactly how you've seen it on our rules page, right? The whole dimensions out there. Now, I want to stress as well that I I hope everybody could start adopting this dimensions so it becomes the new norm, right? Which is why I really wanted to push the dimensions to be out public. I mean, they were at the Shaw Classic. We didn't really have the opportunity to talk to Rogue Fitness, but potentially. But what we really want is to try to reduce the cost for everything, because now we have a very wide fan base. Okay. Now, to give you an example, the UFC primary market is North America. Okay. Because they have other competitors. I think Camille Jablonski just sent me a picture. He was at Fame MMA. So maybe Fame MMA, and and I think the Russians have their own MMA as well. But even though UFC is global, but most majority of their revenue comes from North America, which is why they can partner with Paramount and CBS to get that $7.7 billion contract. Okay, instead of partnering with a more international company like Netflix, for instance, where in Asia, MMA is kind of uh, ran by another company called One FC, uh, right, or One Championship, I think. But whereas right now in the world of arm wrestling, EVW Sports is kind of very international. So cost needs to be of a balance. Obviously, we can put in. I mean, just like look at our caps. We have a more affordable one, and and now our latest one is a lot more expensive because the quality. What I don't want is to alienate any class of people. I want everybody to be capable at some point to don an EVW Sports jersey or any of the apparels. So that's why I kind of have a big range. So, with affordability comes usually manufacturing costs, and hence it's no no surprise that we got to partner with a manufacturing country like India, like China, or other parts of Asia. So that's why it will take a little bit of time, but we want to make sure that we get the highest quality possible at the cheapest price, and then with the cost reduction, we can pass that savings on to all our customers. So there is that. Um, make it hydraulic lift for us short pullers to stand on. I mean, technically, right now it's not too difficult. It's just two rods going in an angle and just pulling it down, and it'll just lift up the whole risers. So to answer your question, it's a company from China that we are testing on. And before everybody gets all worried about the Chinese quality, keep in mind everybody who's using an iPhone, it's all made in China as well. What's and I've worked with Chinese people. It's not that it's bad quality. It's that you have not defined in detail exactly what you want. Okay, to give you an idea, say the steel post. Do you want it hollow? Usually, you want it hollow because having it fully filled steel, it's not going to add too much more strength. Uh, but it will add a lot more weight and a lot more cost. So you want it to be hollow, but then you're talking about how thick should that steel be? What gauge number should it be? So those are all things that you have to define really clearly. If not, all it is they'll give you a hollow one, but it's paper thin and it will crumble really easily. So as long as you're very detailed in your specifications, uh, then it will yield a pretty good result. So just think of that. Jack G, your question is it's not just about the stage rise, elbow pads, height, and even table width. Oh yeah, I've already answered this question. Um, let's see. Grip and Focus says, I want some unique EVW shirts and not the drift ones. I'm too flat for those. Not sure what drift is. Here's another one, Dread25. Dexter, there's a famous YouTuber called Penguins Zero. I remember he likes arm wrestling and reacted to Devin versus Mike at King of the Table. Maybe you guys can collaborate. I'm gonna write it down right now. Go check him out. And guys, these are all good stuff. These are all good stuff. Whatever you guys can to help us grow, help the sport grow, help EVW Sports. I love it. Keep sending those. And if you want to send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. That'd be great. Matter of fact, right now we have a Discord channel. Right? If you guys want to join our Discord channel, we'll be making a post soon. Discord channel will be a lot more chill and relaxed, but I would like it if it's another form of communication from a community standpoint. So You got a Timo table from China made pretty solid. Yeah, that's a possibility. Let's see. RN Effects says Penguin Zero literally did an IRL video with Devin. He would accept. I think it's a in real life video with Devin. He would accept in a heartbeat. Okay, well, I gotta really check who this guy is. Yeah, definitely need a dry fit EVW apparel. So those are very, very costly. Those are extremely costly. That might be a 80, 90, $90 shirt. Unfortunately, it's very, very costly. I've looked into those. And maybe this might be the final question. How do you have so much time to spend managing EVW along with all your business and do it at 3 a.m.? Well, because I have a meeting at 4 a.m. So give you an example, right? Ayane wanted to do the podcast, I think like 4 a.m. in the morning. Was it 5 a.m. in the morning? Something super early. I was working on a few things. Sometimes I speak with the team because the team based in Asia or with the Swiss people until way early in the morning. And then like, well, I've got an hour to burn or like 30 minutes to burn. And then I just jump on. And then sometimes it's Kalina who messaged me. So there is that. Because sometimes I get real tired. So that's what I need to do to stay awake too. Because I'm thinking, well, can I go to bed for like 30 minutes and then do a podcast with INA? Like that's not happening. I might oversleep or wake up with a pounding headache. So there is that. Um, does EVW merch ship internationally? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We absolutely do. Cost is pretty expensive. Cost is. I'll give you an example, right? To send a shirt, and we're neighboring countries, which is mind-boggling. Okay, to send a shirt across the border to Canada, a single shirt, which is so light, it will cost us with tracking, if we want tracking, $21. Can you believe that? Well, and it fluctuates too. Sometimes it's even higher than $21. Sometimes it's $28, depending on the region in Canada. It's kind of a weird thing, right? And then we have to file in all the paperwork and put the listing of they call it, I think, a shipping invoice to show what's inside. It's ridiculous. Shipping is so expensive. It's so expensive, which is why we are trying to figure out outside of America, we'll have an international company that takes care and house some of our shirts, almost like in a dropship manner, so that way we don't have to have all the merch shipped to us, and then we pay for shipping twice, essentially, right? So we're trying to avoid that, and shipping from Asia, it's a lot cheaper direct to Canada than it is to come to America and then to Canada. So there's that. Fitted caps and a snapback cap that doesn't snap. I think you should try our latest cap. It's a little bit more costly because it's a lot higher quality, but I think you'll like that. Yes, tariffs do play a big role in shipping things, so that's why it's easy to not pay tariffs twice. It's kind of a weird thing. Yes, Amazon partnership, that is another good one. I mean, Amazon, it's in multiple countries, so Amazon Prime is a potential one. But for now, we need to get our ducks all in a row. We need to make sure that we have high quality content, streams good, which is what our primary focus is before we even attempt to do so. So potentially, maybe sometime next year, we'll start having to get something going. Because talking to all the publishing house, like the broadcast centers like Netflix and whatnot, it's not Robert and I walking to Netflix office and demanding an audience with the CEO or anybody within the company. They don't take appointments from Joe Schmoes like us because of liability issues. Example, right? If I go and pitch them and says, "Hey, we have an arm wrestling promotions that we want to do with you guys," or hey, I have a new movie concepts, right? It's usually stem from movies. I've got this movie idea. Would you want to fund this? Would you want to buy this movie concept? And it would be an exclusive Netflix original. Okay. just so happen that they have the exact same, well, not exact same, but roughly similar idea movie that they're about to release. And if that's released now, they just open themselves up to a lawsuit. Like, oh, I could have sued them. Like, you stole my idea, right? So to avoid this, they usually go through either an entertainment attorney or a Hollywood type agent. So the agent would be the one who represents us into talking to all these Netflix companies and saying, "Hey, I've got a client who's doing this. Would you guys be interested?" And then they know the exact jargon and exact line to draw before any liability happens. So we actually have to go and pitch to all the different Hollywood agents out there and or entertainment attorneys, one of them, to try and you know get them to pick us up as a client because they have a ton of clients. They have more people who wants to be clients than them needing clients, right? So we have to be unless we are like UFC level, then we can do whatever. But until then, we've got to be really. That's why it was very very key that we keep our channel super clean, dramas put aside. Uh, you know, I'm not saying that we should censor our stuff, but I would try to remove anything that's less than professional. Look at this podcast. This podcast is not the most professional setting, but it's okay because it's more of a casual personal channel. So that is kind of the step that we are taking in order to move forward into the next step of being mainstream. So being a million subscriber on our main channel or getting on Netflix of that sort would be the best. So with that said, guys, like, subscribe, and share because that would help. And also comment. The first person to comment the city that I grew up in will win an autograph strap. So I thank you everybody for spending their Sunday night with me. I know it's a little late for the East Coast, but from the West Coast, you guys are totally fine. I'm in mountain time with everybody being being honest. I'm in mountain time. So not just the country, I'm talking about the city. The city. So Gotham, good one. No no drama for me today. Everybody have a great rest of the week and keep on pulling. Good night.